Hey guys, a really quick tutorial for using Lightwave 3D and getting custom objects into your maps and have them shared by anyone. So they're embedded. Nadeo allows this for objects up to a megabyte or several objects as long as you don't exceed a megabyte. And it's pretty easy to do, so I thought I'll show you guys how it's done. Basically, if you go to your Mania Planet folder, I got it in C, Mania Planet, and you download the Nadeo importer. You unzip it, you get two files, amongst others, and one of them is the Nadeo importer in material lib, which is this one. And basically these are all the textures that you can use on your model, and as long as you use these naming conventions, and it's explained here what it is, you'll be fine, and you can embed it without having to create your own title, which makes it fun. So what else do you need? Well, basically in my common data in the PEX cache, and I'm highlighting it here with my mouse, there was an SMS Storm HD zip which was downloaded after the last update, and if you go into the zip, into the Storm Media Textures Image folder, you actually get those materials that are mentioned in this text file, which makes it easier in Lightwave because you can actually see the textures and you can see what you're doing. Makes it even easier. So how does this all work? Basically, let's load up one of the objects I just recently created and embedded into a map, which is this building, which is 2 floors. If you look at all the materials, these are the names you can find in that text file, and the only thing I did was actually add the floor DDS which I found in that zip file. I unzipped them, I told Lightwave where they were, and I could actually just add them and they show up here. Now I'm not going to explain you how UV mapping works or how that all works. That's not the idea of this video, but basically I'll show you at the bottom right. You need 2 UV maps. Here's one. This is called the base material. You need to have one of these UV maps. It needs to be named exactly as this, and you just basically UV texture all the things you need, and then you can go into map. You can go to edit maps and you say copy vertex map, and then you type light map, and you can see that here, and basically see it's exactly the same. I just scaled it back to the UV size. That's basically it. That's a nice feature of Lightwave, by the way. You can actually, if I go back to the base material, you can actually go outside the UV space. It just starts to repeat all the textures. Not all of the programs do that, but it's really nice because you can actually scale really easily the size of this texture up here. So if you're done with this, so you got your model, you got your textures, you don't really need the actual textures, so you don't really need these as long as the naming is correct for the objects. So if you look at the floor 2, if I just put the luminosity really high up, you can see that it highlights here. So that's the floor. I use it for the ceiling and for the floor. So basically that's all you need. Just make sure that these names are correct. You don't actually need the textures. And then you just go to File, Export as an FBX. You choose the latest version. I use the set scale. You don't have to, but the previous versions of Nadeo, they had a different sizing to them. So basically, if you look at this, if you look at this building takes up exactly 2 blocks. So, am I right? 4 blocks. So this is one tile in Mania Planet. This is one tile. This is one, and this is one. And if you look at the scale, 1 meter, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 meters by 8 meters was originally the size for a tile in Mania Planet. And when you then did an export for FBX, you don't need to scale the size, but they've changed it. So they divided it by 100 basically. So I'm now doing 0.01 as a scaling. So basically it comes down to, what is it, 80 centimeters by, is that 80 centimeters? I think so, yeah. So it scales it all down. But then you got a perfect match. This is exactly 4 tiles. So this building is put on top of 4 tiles, and it matches it exactly. And the height is also correct. So you can actually adjust a bridge which exactly matches this height up here. And then you just follow the instructions of importing, and I can just quickly show you that. Basically what you do is you save that FBX file in your personal data. If there's no work directory, create it. Then create an items directory. And basically inside this you can just create a folder, which I use this Thunderbird for. In this Thunderbird I created an item.xml. So for this building, it tells you it's a mesh. You just have to put this in, and the actual mesh is put inside the meshes folder, and that's where you put your FBX file. So I created the FBX file, which is put in here. Then the mesh parameters, which is in here. And also telling the Nadeo that it's using the collection storm for the materials. And then if you use the Nadeo importer, it will actually copy everything into your Mania Planet personal data, and then it goes into the items, and we'll put it in here. So it will create all these items for you, including the meshes. So, and what I did is I did not only import a mesh, I also imported the an item, and that is the reason why I've got these items in here as well. And when you import both of them, you can just use them in the editor. You just place the building and put stuff on top of it, or into it, or next to it. So that is basically it. It's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, you know, it lets you create a lot of new elements inside the game. So, you know, guys, have fun, enjoy.